Greetings, everyone. Today is September 27, 2021, and this is the Evan Studios weekly podcast number 26, I think. I'm your host, Stark, and with me I have our co founder of Evan Studios, Isaac.
Hi everyone.
I hope you guys can hear us. Let's start with that. Yeah, I think the microphone is triggering, so they're probably listening to us. The audio issues every single week. First and foremost, let me say hi to everyone in chat. Forsen, Aaron, CJ, Ricardo Usuga, Emir Rel, Sirius Black, that fan. Thanks for showing up and listening to the podcast live, and everybody that is listening to it not live or not talking in chat, but please do. We urge you guys to participate in the community. It's always cool to have you guys around, and we encourage everybody to participate in chat and chat with us and chat with the other members of the community. So today we decided to do a podcast because people keep asking us to do podcasts. So that's the main reason. We don't have a lot to talk about, but thankfully, a few members of the community, such as Ariane and Sirius, gave us a bunch of questions to try and answer. And there's also a thing that I want to talk about, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. So while the past podcast was very focused on Journey Abroad and on the Dreamville Chronicles, this podcast will be mostly focused on Fleeting Hours because it's the game that we've been working in. We've been working at for the longest time, and it's the one that we can use as an example for what we're going to explain. So something that I wanted to explain this week is pretty much what goes into making a patch and how to plan a patch, and how do we decide how long it's going to take and what we're going to put in the patch and whatnot. So for Fleeting Hours, and it's the only patch, it's the only game so far that we can do that because it's the only game that we've wrote from start to finish. It's the only game that we have divided each patch by. It's the only that we were able to divide each patch by the amount of scenes and which routes are going to be in it. So we're going to explain on Fleeting Hours how do we do it. So like all the other games, we started writing Fleeting Hours as an idea, and then we started going with like notes where we wanted the characters to go and how we wanted the story to develop, and a lot of that happened by asking the community which scenes they like the most, which routes they like the most, what did they want to see more of, what did they want to see less of, and some routes we actually ended up changing them entirely because we didn't think that a lot of people liked them or they were bringing a lot to the game, as it was the case with the Clark's route, which is probably the route that got the biggest changes, because the whole interactions with Melvin and then the way you met Clark and the way things happen used to be completely different in really older versions, like 0.60 something. And nowadays it's pretty much I am falling in love with Clark, and Clark trying to keep away but he can't, and you guys know how it plays out. But at some point we had Fleeting Hours in general, not everything set in stone, but in general we had Fleeting Hours pretty much written. We knew how the story wanted to be, and then we decided how all the entire scenes will go. Like we decided which how Ayame will meet people, how Ayame will have sex with people, which position it will be. We pretty much had the whole story of the game written for like the last 2-3 years, and then we decided more or less when we wanted to finish the game. So we had to cut a few scenes out to be sure that the game will finish at the end of this year, and we started dividing all the scenes by patches, and we started to do it thematically. Like, okay, this is going to be the patch for the summer, and it's going to get like these 14 scenes. This is going to be the Shota patch, it's going to get 12 scenes. And then we started dividing it, so every time we finish a patch and every time we release a patch, the process pretty much goes like this. Isaac and I grab the story, and we see the scenes that have to play out and how the story has to play out. So in the first game, we sit on the first day, we sit down, we look at the patch, and we're like, okay, Ayame has to do this, go here, meet this character, get this item, whatever. Isaac grabs pretty much that part, and he starts creating in the game all the events for me to later on create the assets to write the story, to write the entire scenes, etc. After that, I go in and have a meeting with the CG team, and then I explain them which scenes we need. I show them a couple drawings, like an idea, like, okay, I want her in like this position, facing the wall like this, the guy goes like this, the guy looks like whatever. I just go on Google. Okay, you see this hair? Yes, kind of like this hair. Is bulky. His skin complexion is XYZ, etc. So I have to run the CG team through all the scenes and explain them which scenes we need, and we tell them, okay, do them in this order because it's easier to create the game in this order. and it's easier to write the scenes if they're like in this specific order, etc., etc. At that point, Muku starts doing the outlines for the scenes and the expressions and whatnot, and Penny, Tiger Lila, starts coloring the ones as soon as Muku finishes them. So as soon as Muku finishes an outline, he sends it to Tiger Lila. Tiger Lila adjusts it a little bit for a drawing style, and then she colors it and whatnot. And then they send it to me. I do a first analysis and some sort of quality control. And then there are situations where I see the scene and I'm like, okay, you know how we could improve this scene? So we have an initial shot of the scene, and before all the motion is done, sometimes we decide, okay, this scene was just anal, but what if he also had a position while like he puts his hand like in this different position, or it will be cool if they kissed in this position, or if we had like a little cut in where you see her face, and that's when all the study goes, and that's when we that's what takes the longest, because we decide on the scenes, and then when we start making them, we start improving them. A lot of it goes back, like I don't like the size of her face, the way her expressions look. So the final product that you guys get, most of the times has already went through a lot of scrutiny and a lot of quality control. So what you see is definitely not what we see. A lot of times the scenes are completely seamless and it's smooth, and I ask them for something and they deliver right away, and there's not a lot of changes. And then some other times I'm like, I don't like your hair, we can change this, we can change that. I give them a few pointers and whatnot, and then after that, this is what is the core, this is what happens every time. After that, if needed, we need to purchase soundtrack, we need to talk with our scripter to create scripts to create like new menus or new interactions or new stuff in the game, and then we have to talk with our sprite artist to start making sprites that will be required in the game when you see Ayame having sex with a character, or when she has a new costume and whatnot. So there's a lot of people that the patch goes through to get to the stage that you guys receive when the patch is completed. Before a patch is completed, there's a lot of scrutiny, there's a lot of quality control, and sometimes things take a lot longer than expected, because the scene that was meant to take like 4 or 5 days to create, sometimes the quality is not up to our standards. Sometimes we want to make changes. Now we also have an animator, and some scenes have to be sent to the animator. So there's always someone in our team working in the patch. Every single day, every single time, there's always someone in our team working in the game. Sometimes we have to wait for each others to be able to deliver stuff. And usually on that downtime for me, I have to do other stuff regarding Evan Studios. I have to do social media interactions, talk with the publishers. I have to start writing the stories for other games. There's a lot that I do behind the curtains that is not only just working on the game. So it's very complex. How do you plan a patch? How do you deliver a patch? And how long it takes? That's why at first we have no idea how much time it's going to take. We try to keep it like every 2 months right now, but there are some scenes that are so complex that take a lot longer, especially if you want to see higher quality. And for instance, the last summer scene where I am at like the anal scene in the towel with the lifeguard that you guys can see in our Discord. That one has so many different interactions. There's a scene there where they kiss. You know, can do vaginal sex with Ayame. There's obviously the many pubes and skin complexions to take into consideration. So initially we have an idea how long a patch is going to take, but then there's so much that goes into it, from map changing. We had to change the beach map for this patch, the improvements that we make, writing the story, and especially in the drawing, there's so many changes that we look at it. You know what? This looks good, but maybe let's change this, let's change that, let's add stuff. And usually the add stuff is the part that takes a long time. For instance, if you guys check the preview from the scenes with Ayame, Evelyn, and the guy in the city exit, the one that people call the voyeur scenes, we now have Evelyn with lingerie and the garter belt and whatnot, and she's wearing her glasses. The final stage of that scene is quite different from the one that you guys can see, and that happens a lot with many scenes that you guys see, like the one with the African American female character. We changed a few things about her to give her more specific traits. Like a few people thought that it was like a super tanned Ayame with a wig, and we're like, I can kind of see it, but let's make a few changes to change it. So we changed the color of her iris, we changed her nose, we changed a few things about her. So even the scenes that you guys see the previews, a lot of times those scenes are going to be changed later down the road, and there's going to be some scrutiny about those scenes. So all the time that sometimes we're working on a patch and we're causing like delays and whatnot, it's mostly to improve the patch, and it's because we're not happy with what we have. And usually we just release the previews and you guys can see what we're working on at any given moment. But it's like we are kind of like a perfectionist team. We don't want to release something that we're not proud of just for the sake of hitting a deadline. So sometimes doing improvements in scenes and doing improvements in story and whatnot can cause delays. And on top of that, it's hard to say like we have personal lives and whatnot, because when we say that, it's like there's days that we just want to go have fun and not work, but that's not the case. Like Isaac as a kid, the kid can get sick. There were the COVID shots. Not everyone reacted the same way. Some people were fine the next day. Some people went down for the count. Like Muku did not react very well to the COVID shots. So people get sick. People get stuff that they need to do urgently in real life, where in a regular job, so to speak, you will probably have to ask the day off to your boss, probably call in a vacation day, or get a justification for leaving, for being absent. But we are subject to life situations as much as anyone else. Like we get sick, we get issues with our kids, we get issues with our health. There's a lot of stuff that we have to deal with. Sometimes we have to probably go to the finances and do stuff like that. So sometimes we lose a day here, we lose a day there, and then that alone can be enough to cause delays. So yeah, now that I explain what it takes into making a patch, if you guys want to ask questions, I'm going to accept questions both on the Fleeting Iris channel on Discord. I'm going to accept questions on YouTube, and Jesus fucking Christ, get stopped. So Isaac left when Emir Arel asked the question on YouTube, so I'm going to let him answer that one.
Sure you will.
So Emir Arel asked on YouTube, as a developer, what are the negative sides of RPG Maker? If you were RPG Maker's developing team, so enter brain, what would you add to RPG Maker? See, that's why I left. Fun times. Okay, I'm going to grab some water. You answer that.
Yeah, sure. So, how will I start this? Okay, so RPG Maker in general, in our case RPG Maker VX6, is a very, let's call it, simple tool to use. So almost anybody who knows how to work with a computer and knows like the basics of coding can use RPG Maker to make a game. Will it be a good game? Well, that's another story, but almost anybody can use it to make a game. But with the engine being simple, it comes the downside of it's very weak at some things. For instance, Enfly, everybody who is anybody in the RPG Maker knows who Enfly is, made a buttload of scripts for VX6 and VX and some plugins for MV and whatnot. Some of them, almost everyone who uses them agrees that those functions that those scripts do and those plugins do should be like basic functions on RPG Maker that come from the start, that should be in the engine, and people don't understand why Enterbrain just doesn't put things that everybody uses on their program, and they have to use like third-party scripts to do that. It makes like no sense. Sometimes RPG Maker also has some like weird, I don't want to say like bugs or
It's bugs.
but it's bugs. Like things like just change when they're not supposed to, when you are changing a different part of the event.
That's
and
not even the worst part.
if you use the Steam version, you might run into some issues. Stark, for instance, has the Steam version and the correct version because of that. I think that's due to like poor coding, and Enterbrain is abandoning the older versions of RPG Maker as soon as a new one comes up. So there's not much
Just in time.
there's not much support there's not much customer support. So to say, if you are using RPG Maker VX6 and MV came out, well, tough titties, because we won't help you. If you are using MV and what's the name of new one, like XC or
XC,
something,
whatever,
whatever.
who cares?
Well, there goes the support for MV. Like, figure it out yourself. Search the forums and whatnot.
They learned that from EA.
That's absolutely a terrible company policy. I mean, they are not like a multi-millionaire company. I understand that they can't like have a full team like 24/7 support for all the versions. I mean, I get that. I understand that that's not lucrative, but their customer support is just laughable, like absolutely laughable.
Okay, so what I have to say about that, and obviously Isaac already ran through most of the stuff that matters, but RPG Maker VX6 and even the others is a tool that, although it has a lot of limitations, and it does, and if you have any idea what you're doing, and if you improve on a daily basis, eventually you will come across those limitations. And trying to circumvent those limitations is obviously the main key of what makes a good developer and what makes a shitty developer. Even though a lot of people have been able to do more with less, and a lot of people have had a lot of resources and have released absolute garbage. But the problem is with Enterbrain, it's I don't want to talk shit about a company, but it's because first of all, it's anyone's guess why they have their policies. But not only they don't let you do a lot of changes to their game, they don't allow you to change the DLLs, they don't allow you to try and improve the game, to try and improve the engine. I'm sorry. I have obviously my suspicions on why that is, but it kind of works like some developers from games not allowing people to mod their game in any way, shape, or form, even if it's to improve on basic functions. Because the developer most of the times always thinks, no, we know what's best for you and we know how you should play the game. Don't try to tell us how to play our own game or how to make our own game. And some companies are a lot more lenient on that, while other companies are like super ironclad when it comes to it. And my suspicion is that Enterbrain, obviously as a board of directors, that is like, we want the new engine out by whatever day. And if you don't have proactive people in your team that says, hey guys, we could do this better, we could do this, we could do that, and we could improve the engine a lot and make it a lot better and actually, boost sales because it's going to be a better engine, you're going to have a lot of people in your team that just do what they're told. So you have like a head developer that says, I want these functions, and everybody just goes, yes sir, and then everybody just does that. But there's always, in a team, there's always creative minds, and obviously some people are going to be like, dude, I'm going to be paid like a laughable paycheck. Why the fuck would I give myself more work? Why the fuck would I give myself even more constrained release dates? I'm just going to give myself more work to do on the same amount of time. I'm not going to get a bonus for that. I'm not going to get like a pat in the back. I'm not gonna screw myself. So all the creative minds behind Interbrain just keep their mouth shut because they don't want more work because they're not going to get like promoted or bigger paychecks or whatever. Another possibility is if they make an engine too good, maybe they run out of ideas to do another engine, and they want to keep releasing engines. So
That actually may be the case. I don't remember the specifics, but I know they have some older engines add some functions that people liked, and sometimes they remove functions in a new engine, and people are like, "Hey, but the older RPG Maker had this. Why doesn't the new one has the same capability?" And then the next one has that old function, and then the other one doesn't have it. They do that a lot of times, and that's like really annoying.
So, obviously, it's anyone's guess why Interbrain starts to, cause a lot of limitations on RPG Maker, and a lot of them seems like they are on purpose. And obviously, as customers, and we're just going to judge it based on what everyone else does and the reason why people do it. Because obviously, there's like whistleblowers everywhere, and there's people that leave companies and they usually snitch on whichever shitty shitty policies they had. That happens to a lot of companies. It just happened to Blizzard. So it's pretty much like that. Eventually, you find out what it is, and in Interbrain, the limitations to RPG Maker it's pretty shit, but we have to learn how to work around it. So the negative sides is there's not a lot of support from the team, and man, again, sometimes the engine just breaks for the sake of breaking. Like you do something, it doesn't work, and then you do nothing. You just open another tab, go back to that, and now it works. And I know it sounds like I'm joking, but it's not. The fucking engine just sometimes doesn't work for the sake of not working. But the good is, it's very intuitive. Like Isaac said,
Yes.
almost everyone can fucking grab it and start, learning the basics of RPG Maker. And even within its limitations, there's a lot of things that you can do to circumvent them. And our game is fucking the poster child for that, because holy shit. The amount of scripts and the amount of ideas and the amount of code that is in the game that was made to work around some limitations that the engine had are fucking crazy. But yeah, you have anything more to say about
No, I guess that's
Okay, I hope you like the answer, Muriel. So Ariane had a lot of questions for us, and I'll be happy to answer all of them. First one is any animated scenes in the next patch. We're currently trying to get a few animated scenes in the next patch, but it depends on how good of an animation we can do with a limited amount of panels. Because we don't want to make 150 megabyte animations for each scene. I'm sorry, I meant 150 picture animations. We're talking about 450 megabytes for each scene. So we want to make some animations, especially because we want to get our animator versed in our art style, so we can almost fully animate our second game, and so we can almost fully animate Journey Abroad. He also asks, will there be more older scene reworks? There are none planned right now, but we know exactly which older scenes we want to change and we want to improve. So at any given point, if we have a little time, we might go back and change it. So currently planned, no, but it's a big possibility, as there's a few older scenes that we want to go back and improve. Are the scenes from the contest, will they show up in the next patch? No, because I tried to create them, and after analyzing them, they are extremely complex. For instance, the one that Sirius Black submitted has like 5 days of gameplay. I asked for an entire scene. He actually wrote like an alternative ending for a route. I'm not kidding. I was like, I just sat down, we have a cup of coffee, and I was like, okay, let's break this down. And yeah, we're probably going to have to remake a few assets for some characters to resemble Sato more. We're going to have to change the background to make it look like they're in Sato's house and whatnot. So that's one of them. And Advent in terms of just creating the scene in the game, it's a lot easier, but it's going to ask to request a lot more assets because he didn't look at the entire scenes. He was just like, I'm just gonna write my own, and that's pretty much what it is. So they will come out eventually. I hope they come out at least somewhere in the first patch of the next year, because we want to do the final changes like really early in 2022. We want to do the final air quotes patch of Fleeting Iris, so it will definitely come out there. And yeah, at that time we will try to make most of the changes that we can in the game. If we can make some reworks of older scenes, we will, and we will probably have to create a lot of facets just for the submitted scenes to the contest. Yeah. So regarding the Shoto patch, how many scenes are planned? I think we have like 13 scenes planned. It's like 12 entire scenes, but one of them has like a little change in the middle. Did the two boys that Ayame will be teaching are already in the game? Can we meet them or see them anywhere? I don't think they are in the game. I think Isaac, by mistake, used the sprite of one of them and put him somewhere. I think it was like in the kindergarten, in the mall. And I was like, why is this character here? And it was like, oh, I just grabbed the kid and put it there.
Yeah.
I was, dude, that was one of the main. This is one of the main characters. We cannot use him like randomly over there. So I think at some point they were in the game accidentally, and I think they're busts. During for some time they were in the game folder, but I don't think they're there anymore. I'm pretty sure we removed it to save space until they were actually required. Yeah.
17,000 files.
Sorry?
17,000 files.
Yeah, that's not counting with the ones from dispatch.
I know.
So we're gonna go to 18,000 probably. 18,000 images, and that's just on the pictures folder.
I know.
That's not on the side menus, the gallery menus. So yeah, fun times. Again, six plus years of development, 300 plus entire scenes. We're fucking insane. So yeah, not yet. So maybe talk about the plot a little bit without too much spoilers. Without too much spoilers, what happens is Ayame is going to work as a babysitter for kids that are about 10 years old, and they're complete opposites. One of them is like I would say pretty much kind of a douchebag, but one acts like pretty much the older twin, and he's like meaner and he's more into like blackmail and whatnot, and the other is kind of like the sweet kid that gets her to do anything he wants, like look at my pee-pee, what do I do, it's so big right now, kind of kid. So it's that kind of trope. So basically Ayame starts getting like super sweet and super close to one of those kids, and the other one then starts kind of blackmailing her, and obviously being blackmailed by a kid saying, I'm gonna snitch about what you did, and she's like, but I didn't do anything, and he's gonna be like, well, who's gonna believe you? Yeah, it's I'm just glad it's in a game. It's it's something really serious, but it's just a game. People shouldn't take it too seriously. So yeah, that is pretty much the plot. I don't wanna waste it too much, but there's a question. Will Ayame try and reward him somehow, and will this escalate more and more with boys being more daring with the requests? Yes. Ayame will be very, very on the side of rewarding one of them, and the other one is being like, I know you do that for my brother, so I want you to do that for me, and then that one escalates it. And then they will blackmail her somehow. Yes, somehow. Any clothes changes during the DLC? We have 2 planned different costumes. They have accessories like collars in bestiality and whatnot. Where will the actions take place? Ayame house or boy's house? I can tell you this much. So initially the scenes will take place in the kids' house, but they will go out. For instance, Ayame and Robert will take the kids to the beach one day. Shit happens. She will take them to the mall to have lunch and then watch a movie together. They will play in the park. So the patch itself will take place in a lot of places, and the requests become more and more dairy. And I can tell you with a little bit of spoiler that eventually they ask their father for a dog, and he doesn't allow them. So Ayami has to play the dog, and they get her like a dog costume, and they walk her in the park, and that's one of the scenes. So if you want to see the rest of the scenes, you'll have to play the Shota patch. So yeah, is there one ending or more? There is one ending. Again, it's gonna play like the bestiality patch where you just start in this like an alternative story. I'm planning, no promises, and it obviously will not be released on Patreon and whatnot. But I am planning, because it's easier to import from EF to the regular Fleeting Iris than it is to take something from Fleeting Iris and exporting to EF. Because from Fleeting Iris to EF you have to increase the size of shit, and you have to like increase the maps and whatnot. And from EF it's a lot easier to just grab stuff and take it to Fleeting Iris. So there might be a final version of Fleeting Iris that we will keep as developers, and we will possibly send it directly to people that ask it, where the bestiality scenes and the Shota scenes are able to be played in the original game. So they become like complete routes where you just interact with the character and you start that storyline. So obviously you will lose out on the high quality definition of EF with the higher resolution and whatnot. But then again, there's the immersion, because you will be able to use Ayame in your save with your stats and do that and be able to see the scenes in the original game. So yeah, I hope you guys like the news about the Shota patch. Sirius Black also had a few questions for us. He said, about future games, do you think they will have a turn-based gameplay or something more action? We haven't decided yet, and it's not going to be the same, that we know for sure. It's not going to be the same between all games. We don't know if we're going to have like an active time battle. We don't know if it's going to be like you have like a speed stat that allows you to get more turns in between the enemy's turns.
Like a 15.
Like Final Fantasy X.
It's called. God damn it! I know the name of that shit. Is CTB. It's.
Doesn't matter. So yeah, we know that we don't want to reuse battle systems in between games. We also know that we don't want to make them too complicated or too complex. We want to make it like look good and maybe a little challenging. But considering it's an entire game, there were two possibilities, or actually three. One is like make the game like shit easy. Two is make the game like fucking hard.
Charge turn battle. That's the name of that system.
And three, it's actually make both and actually allow you to pick the options. But with the amount of time and the amount of testing that will take to make on an entire game, it feels like it's overkill. So we will probably try to build it somewhere in between where, it's going to be somewhat challenging, but we probably give everyone like a cheat weapon where you can just like one-shot everything. And it's a lot easier that way. Like, do you want to skip battles? Just use that gun. Boom, you kill everyone one shot. If you don't, you get battles. You might get like grope in between the battles and whatnot. So we haven't decided how it's going to play out. But we will have to wait to see what we decide to be the best. We know we want to have a lot of character cutscenes when they do their attacks. We don't want to like, you unlock the new attack and then we just change a couple numbers and see, this is the new attack. No, we actually want to have like animations for the attacks.
Yes.
We want to make it like look really cool. We want to make people feel excited when they unlock new content and when they unlock new attacks and when they level up. We don't want people to just level up for the sake of level up. We want people to actually have a nice role-playing experience, like I had the first time I played Final Fantasy VII back in '97, and there were like no guides online, barely there was any internet, and every time we unlocked a new materia or like a new level up on a materia, was like, oh my god, I got Bolt 3, I gotta go fucking try it right away. that was exciting for me, and I want people to have the the same experience when they play not only Bloodlust but all our future games that involve battle system or like a puzzle system and whatnot, which we already have started testing on a very basic level on our Halloween patch. So yeah, we don't know how it's going to play out, but yeah, we are probably going to have a lot of mini games. We are probably going to have a lot of stuff to progress in the game and for the battle system. So yeah, do you plan any games with the base development feature? Yes, our fourth game, the one with Melissa, will have a very strong base development system component. Very, very strong. You will actually have to do some side missions, and it's gonna play like the idea that I had for the game. If you guys have played it, imagine the game, This War of Mine, meets Dead of Winter, the board game, where it's like a survival game where you gotta go out and get resources.
Surely This War of Mine is also a board game that was adapted to a video game later.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice. So This War of Mine, yeah, it was a board game that adapted to a video game. It's a really good video game. So there will be a lot of base development, and the game will. You can actually do base development, or you can do like a solo path and whatnot, and actually be more of a roamer. But there will be a lot of moral decisions. There will be a lot of stuff that you can do like one way or another, and your moral compass
Like
is
the crossroad system or something.
exactly kind of like that.
Oh, that's okay.
So there's a huge moral compass on the fourth game, where you can be kind of like a kinder character, and you can be more of like, I just do whatever the fuck I want. We're trying to survive the apocalypse. Fuck you type character. And obviously one will be like a guy asks you, I can give you this for a blowjob, and then if you're a nice character, you can say no or walk. You can give him a blowjob or walk away. But if your moral compass tends more like, you know what, this is the apocalypse, I'm trying to survive, you can actually try and kill him. So your moral compass will be very important, and obviously the way you react and the way you talk to people will also influence what others think of you. So if you act like a douchebag to everyone, don't expect someone to save you when that will put them at risk, or they could get bitten by a zombie, or when they could get killed or go against the group. So you will have to like manage your moral compass very well, or else you can actually get kicked out of the colony. Some options will not be available to you, but yeah, you can assume yourself as a leader, and you can do a lot for the base development, or you can do a little bit more of a roamer side. We want to make a very realistic, post-apocalyptic, dystopic gameplay. We want it to have a completely different mood and a completely different environment than the other games. Obviously there will be room for romance, for social interactions. Obviously there's going to be a lot of that, because you want to make a lot of allies. You want to be careful about who you trust and who you don't. So yeah, being able to create good relationships and being able to to manage your moral compass, it's going to be really important. So yeah, there you go. This is some a little bit of spoilers about our fourth game. Obviously we are super excited to work on that, guys. Man, we have so much ahead of us, and what can we say? We're doing our best. We're moving there, but it takes time, bro. Like, I swear no one wants to do those more than us.
It was built in a day.
Yeah, Evans Cities wasn't built in a day. Fleeting Eye wasn't built in a day. With you guys by our side, I know that we can get there, and it's going to be cool, because when people ask me what it's like to be a developer, and I know other developers, and like, oh yeah, man, the fucking community, right? These guys are fucking cunts, always cracking the whip. These guys always cracking the whip. These guys are fucking assholes.
I mean, some communities.
And I usually what I tell them is, listen, I see communities the way I see my fucking cat. Okay? When I go to someone's house and the cat is a fucking asshole, when you have a dog and the dog is an asshole, there's a big chance that you made the fucking dog an asshole. And there's a big chance your cat is an asshole because you fucking, you taught him to be a fucking asshole. That's pretty much it. And I told him, listen, you need to understand, like, if you got an ain't shit community, you need to figure out what it is about your game that keeps attracting ain't shit people to your community, right? And I think that we fostered a nice environment, and I think our community is fucking great. When people tell me, dude, it's so hard to deal with the community. No, it's not. It's probably hard to deal with your community. Like, how many times did you fail them? How many times did you lie to them? How many times were you not transparent about shit? How many times did they feel deceived? Do they have reasons to treat you like shit? Do they have reasons to constantly give you shit? Then, maybe you need to figure out what it is about you that is reflecting in the fucking community, because it's not their fault. If they're being dicks, probably you fostered that environment. And right now, every time I talk to people, regardless if it's on Discord, regardless if it's on YouTube, Twitter, Patreon, Subscribestar, it doesn't matter. Every time I talk, I have nothing but the nicest thing to say about our community, because it's not hard at all to fucking deal with this community, because it's a pleasure. I love doing the podcast because I love interacting with the fans. Everybody's super nice. Everybody has nothing but the nicest things to say. Everybody has nothing but the they just wanted to see Evan Studios grow and Evan Studios do well, right? Even when people are not happy about something, they're like, listen, I didn't like this for this reason. Are you going to like do something different in the future? Do you plan on changing it so it doesn't look like this or whatever? So I never had issues dealing with the community, ever. People that have been on a long time in the community, I seriously don't have any issues. It's always a pleasure to deal with our fans. And a good thing about communities, it's how you shape it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've seen a few friends of mine, few developer friends of mine, go like, hey man, these guys are being dicks. They don't understand this about my life, this and this. And I'm like, bro, I know what you did. Like, you probably spent like 3 months without releasing a patch. You've been 3 months saying, oh, we're almost done, and then someone quits your team, and you don't tell anyone that someone quits. Someone runs with the money, the fucking CG artist quits, and you don't tell anyone. Like, people have the right to know that. People are invested financially and emotionally on the shit that you do, and they are feeling deceived. Obviously, they're on the defensive. Obviously, they feel attacked. Like, if you don't foster a nice environment, if you don't communicate with your community, right, then what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's such a bland interaction. It's a very simple, it's a transaction. Even it's like, give me money, here's the game whenever the game is out. And that's not what we want to do. We started creating games for the passion of creating games, because we were fans of the genre before we started working on it. And it's really hard to, I think that a lot of people that fail, and a lot of people that I feel like people set themselves up for failure. And there's a lot of people that I know that they even if, dude, because it takes a lot of fucking, like, it takes a lot of things to create a bad community. There's a lot of people out there, and people that have been promising patches for 2 years. People that are making like $60,000 on Patreon, like, those guys are not getting a lot of shit by their fans. When you start getting a lot of shit from your fans and everybody is fucking unhappy, if you don't have a board of directors, if it's up to you to make a change, then you have to change yourself first and foremost. It's not the fucking community. Because when you have a board of directors cracking the whip and telling you just fucking do this, if you're going through what CD Projekt Red went through, I didn't want to fucking be a developer. Dude, I feel so bad about the developers. Yeah. I feel so bad about their developers. But, man, I'm not fucking gonna... Listen, those guys are fucking... They're amazing. They're CD Projekt Red. They created what they did, so they will find a job somewhere else. I have to boycott the company because I'm boycotting the guys upstairs. It's not the fucking developers. I know who fucked up. I know who fucking screwed the pooch. Yeah. I know who shit the bed.
They are the guys who work the hardest. And they are the guys who take the hate when things go south, but they have absolutely like no blame whatsoever in the outcome of the game.
And no power to change it.
Nothing at all.
So when you're a fucking developer and you're the fucking head chief, you're the head of state, and you have a whole team working for you, and people are mad at you, and you can do change. If people are mad at you, you need to figure out what the fuck did you do to get people mad at you, because people don't get mad for no reason. At least not the majority of people will fucking get angry at you for no reason. You need to figure out what it is about you that keeps attracting ain't shit communities, and that's probably because you're a ain't shit developer. Period. That's my take. You know, take it with a grain of salt. Do whatever. That's, you know. Evan Studios is entire role-playing game developer studio, or in the future we will see different type in game style. I hope next 50 years we can still play your games. Emir, first of all, I would love to do other types of games, but I don't want to like leave behind the community that we started with and that supported us. So that will probably be always some sort of component of our company. Will always be in Thai games, but if we can get enough finances and if we can get a team big enough, we might actually try to do different type games, those indie games that people fucking love. I can think of like Hollow Knight and Hades and whatnot, just from the top of my head. Those are amazing games that I have nothing but the nicest things to tell about, like Phasmophobia and whatnot. There's very simple, you know, nifty games that people love. We will also love to do that, but Evan Studios will possibly have a strong anti-component throughout the entire history of the company. However, you say you hope that for the next 50 years we can play our games. Me too. That means I will be fucking alive at the age of 76. That will be fucking epic. 86 even. So yeah, no, probably no. At some point I will step down. Isaac is younger than me. At some point I will quit and, you know, let Isaac take the reins of the team, and at some point Isaac will have to quit and give it to someone else.
Yeah, I'm not that much younger than you.
So I can tell you that I can promise you, as long as I have the final say in Evan Studios, quality will always trump anything else. Profit, whatever it is, we will never try to just follow the tendency for the sake of making money or whatever it is. If the company lives, it lives. If we become rich, it's cool. If the company dies, it's cool as well. For me personally, as long as Isaac and I and Muku are ahead of the team, and as long as we are creating games, you just don't expect like a complete flip over like happened with like Blizzard and shit like that. We've been honest since day one, and as long as we are ahead of the team, we are not fucking going. I know in the United States, if your company gets too big, you gotta make an IPO. You actually have to sell some of your
yeah, but you can still retain majority, so.
Yeah, but then people can vote you out because they think you're insane. You're not asking for like, you're not looking for the best of the company.
Elon Musk, so we're good.
We're
okay.
So yeah, I can tell you that we also want to be around for a long time, and Evan Studios will always be the same Evan Studios as it always has been. So yeah, what else did you ask? I'm really excited for the Shota patch. To me, it doesn't matter what type of living thing that screws our female MC. Okay. As long as the female MC is busty and overall looking grown up and hot. Yeah, I think the youngest looking female character that we have is probably Luna.
Yeah, it is.
And maybe Alex on Fleeting Iris.
Yeah, how old is Alex again?
Alex is like 19.
So it's probably Luna, right?
It's probably Luna.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ashik, we love you guys as well. You guys are the reason why we do this, and it you know, probably that's where the whole speech, the whole spiel that I just said, you know, that's what you should take from it, is that the reason why we do this is pretty much a community, and if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. And as long as you guys are on our side, as long as you guys got our back, we're going to be here. We're going to stay. We're going to keep doing what we have been doing up until this point, and if we can do it for like 10 more years, 20 more years, that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we got as a company. I'm incredibly happy with the community that we fostered, and we were able to gather around our mutual interest, so to speak. So yeah, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you guys have any more questions, we will be happy to answer them. Man, I did not expect to talk about so much stuff. I started talking about just how to make a patch, and then I ended up talking about a lot of games. I think the only game that we didn't talk about was like Luna, and honestly, that's the game that dude. All the other games, I have an idea. Like I know where the game starts, I know how the game ends. I have an idea of all the scenes, so to speak, and how the gameplay. I have an idea of how I want the gameplay to fucking play out. The Luna game is the only game that I'm like, oh my god, dude, because I have like an idea where you can play like the evil girl, and you have like you are being controlled by the evil succubus, and you have like Luna, and you're being controlled by the other one. And the gameplay and how the game plays out is the one that it's eluding me the most. And I've always been saying, you know what, I got time until then. I know how I want the story to play out, and I know what's the outcome of the story. But the gameplay, because some of the things that I thought about was like, okay, this with the team that we have, with the size of the team that we have, this is impractical. Like we can't do this. So I know that eventually I will come up with an idea of how I'll get the gameplay to work. But right now I just don't know, because the second game is going to be mostly like espionage and mini games and battle system and whatnot. That one is simple, and you have the social interactions during the day, and you have mostly the fighting and the spying and whatnot during the night. The fourth game is pretty much just you want to get from point A from point B, and you will meet some very important characters, and at the end of that game you will meet up with all the main characters from the previous games. Yeah, I know I want that one to play out, and in terms of gameplay, it just speaks to me in a sense that it's so easy for me to decide. Okay, I this is how I want it to play out, because I love the horror and the zombie genre so much. It's something that even like in comedies and whatnot, it's something that appeals to me. Like, oh my god, if you were like in this situation, what would you do and whatnot? And it also brings like a more raw state out of people, because the cops are too busy not getting killed to fucking policy the everything, and it's like, what do humans do when there are no rules, when the rule is power? Who has the bigger gun, who has the biggest army, and we're going to see a lot of the darker side of people. We're also going to see a lot of the kinder side of people. So yeah, I'm really excited to work on that game. The fifth game, I still haven't decided how to also do it, but I know I want to make a game. Might be like a short game where all the I know it's gonna play kind of like Horizon. If you guys saw the end of the game and you guys know what happened in Horizon, but basically the main characters are going to be like the birth of a new species, so to speak. And then finally the game that I probably want to work in the most is the epic game, where it happens 600 years in the future, but mankind has been completely civilization has been completely destroyed by the demons roaming the planet and whatnot. So that one is going to be really cool. We'll be able to see a different side of Valencia, and yeah, that one is the one that I've been wanting to play ever since I was a kid. Ever since I played games like Final Fantasies and Golden Sun, Breath of Fire, and whatnot. It's going to play out kind of like that, and yeah, and it's going to wrap up the story. You're going to learn a lot of stuff about the characters, what's going on. Yeah, because we always have a tendency to look more to the entire side of the things, instead of like what's the big plot. Because there's like the small plots, like who's I am his father, like who's Jack's father.
Not a small plot.
But in the big picture, to the point of where the whole civilization is going to get destroyed, what the fuck is going to happen behind the curtains? That's the big picture, and it's easy to like get lost on the intai, or get lost on the, oh wait, but didn't she say that her father's favorite meal was this, and this guy's favorite meal is this as well, and whatnot. From that to, oh shit, who the fuck is pulling the strings behind this? Like, if civilization is going to come to an end, like, what is going on? Why does this guy have powers? Why is this drug so powerful?
Now that you talk about that, I just had like an epiphany. You know what that reminds me? Like Game of Thrones. We have kind of like a lot of different characters, all with very interesting and complex arcs, like who is Ayame's father, and when you realize that it's a very important character,
And then the zombies are coming.
and all those things are very important, like in those character arcs. But there is a big picture behind everything that
And nobody gives a fuck
nobody's paying attention to that. That like over trumps everything else, and every character has like their pet and their important pet. But in the end, everything culminates like in the big thing, in the big man behind the character.
It's like at the beginning of the on the beginning of the show, it's like,
But we promise we won't fuck the final season.
I don't promise that. I'm gonna try, but I promise you, I'm not going to accept Disney money to rush out the ending and make it like a piece of shit. That I can promise you. But it kind of feels like that. In Game of Thrones, it's like Robert is like, I think my wife is fucking her brother, and then the guys on the fucking the wildlings on the north of the wall, they're like, dude, we're all about to die. Like, that's first world problems. No one gives a fuck about that. And it's the other way around. Everybody just cares like, oh my god, I can't believe he's fucking his sister. Nobody gives a fuck about the zombies. That's like the joke. I'm gonna tell a joke. Probably it's not a good joke, but a Nazi guy with a minigun says, says, I'm going to kill 100 Jews in the clown. And someone asks him, why the clown? See, no one gives a fuck about the Jews. I'm sorry for the joke, but it's like, it's the analysis, it's the metaphor. Sometimes you lose, you lose track of the bigger picture for something simple. And obviously in our games, the bigger picture is the anti. You want to see quality anti, quality dialogues, quality drawings. But everybody forgets about, okay, so who is Ayame's father? Like, why did Ayame's mother lie? Why did Fujiko grown so hateful when Ayame is like this? And all those stories trump a lot of like, whose dick is Ayame's going to suck today? And then is the bigger picture. There is like, someone is plotting to destroy civilization. Someone is making pacts with demons and shit, and nobody fucking bats an eye. Robert is having a fucking nervous breakdown. You guys probably haven't realized it. But Robert doesn't come home because he knows what's going on, and he knows, dude, this drug is not normal. People are getting fucking zombified. This shit is about to pop off. We're not being able to detect where this shit was created. We're not being able to figure out what the fuck is going on. Civilization might come to an end if this shit just starts making like a bunch of fucking zombies. There's a zombie apocalypse going on, and this bitch is asking me, hey baby, what fucking clothes do you think I should wear today? That's how Robert looks at Ayame most of the fucking time, and people don't even try to see Robert's perspective on the fucking thing. And there's a lot of fucking hints in the game where it's like, hey, I want to spend more time with you, but fucking like you have no idea. And it's something that he shouldn't be discussing with her for two reasons. Because one, it shouldn't be, talking about classified shit. And two, you probably don't want to alarm the person that you're with. You don't want to go to your wife, hey, I don't want to fucking screw your plans for the weekend or whatever, but there's going to be a zombie apocalypse, so get your butt ready. Like, you know what I mean? And everybody's, fuck Robert, bro. I haven't go suck more dicks. But if you pay attention, all of the characters have issues. All of the characters have like these small hints that they're having, like, Yeah. But then again, the whole game, like we said at the beginning, all the fucking decisions that you make, it's like it draws a different universe. It draws a different. It's like the butterfly effect. You suck a dick here and you get stabbed in the face tomorrow, and then you set fire to a fucking convenience store and you kill your sister and your best friend. It's the butterfly effect. Sometimes you suck a dick and people die. Sometimes you don't and people die. The point is. The point is. What was the point? Oh yeah. Wait, I'm almost there. Look, I almost dropped the analysis, but I'm almost there. So the thing is, I really don't know. I'm just trying to create myself a fucking epiphany where I remember what I was talking about. But the point is, no, seriously, right now. In the if you look at the bigger picture, all the characters have issues, but in one route, if you pick Robert is the guy that is paying more attention to Ayame. On another, maybe Robert is the guy that happens to cheat on Ayame, and on another, Robert is the guy that he actually cares about her, but he just doesn't have time to invest in the relationship and whatnot. So really, depending on what route you choose and what you do, not only you change yourself, but you change the story and you change those around you. And people sometimes are so focused about the anti-scenes, or they are so focused about Ayame, that they don't consider other characters and their feelings and how they react and whatnot might be due to how Ayami reacted to them and how Ayami talked to them. So this game is kind of like be the change you want to see in the world, and Ayami pretty much is the biggest spark on all the things that happen. So if you are devoted to Robert, he dies in the end. So yeah, I'd rather get a fucking
Spoilers.
I'd rather get cut. Come on, dude, that ending has been out for so long. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys fucking enjoy the podcast. I'm gonna let you guys go back to your lives. I hope I kept you guys company, regardless if you're at work listening to us on the way home, on your car or on the bus, on your headsets. Hopefully, yeah. I love you guys, and it's always fun to do the podcast. We didn't have a lot to talk about, but like I said, if you guys just give us questions on Discord or Twitter or whatever, like Aaron and Sirius Black and even Emir right here on YouTube that do, we can always come up with stuff to talk about, and we have a lot to talk about because we have so much stuff planned. So yeah, it's always nice to do a podcast for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm gonna let Isaac say goodbye to you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Dry as shit. I mean, it could be nice. You could be like, yo, it was nice talking to you guys. No, like, we're always looking forward to the podcast, and then you're just dry as shit.
I'm sorry. It was nice talking to you guys. It was a very fun podcast. It's always fun. That's the truth.
It is always fun.
Yeah. We like doing podcasts like a lot, and I hope you like the answers to your questions, and I hope you are all very excited for what's to come. Although a lot of it is like a long way down the road.
Yeah. The only part that I don't like about the podcast is that we have to turn off the fans, and I'm sweating like a fucking pig. That's the only thing that I don't like about the podcast. But other than that, it's always cool to fucking talk to you guys. Also, I didn't say at the time, but every single single fucking time, I only change the panel of the podcast like 30 fucking minutes in.
It's okay.
I know it's okay, but
people don't listen to the podcast for your panels, dude.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever it is. Okay. Thanks everyone who watched. Thanks everyone who is listening to it live right now. That fan is Sheik, Foster, Aaron. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for sticking out till the end and keeping us company to the podcast. Everybody out there in the chat and everybody that is listening to this not in loco, I wish you guys an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing year, even though we're almost at the end, and we'll see you guys with the Fleeting Hours patch hopefully very soon. Probably next week's podcast I'm going to spoil the story of the summer patch and what's going to on, and I'm going to break down the scenes. So if I forget by then, please remind me.
And they're good.
Yeah, I think they're good. I listen, at least the CG team is doing well. If I fuck it up, put it on me. I think the scenes are turning out really fucking great. So if the story is ass and the dialogues are ass,
no, the story is good.
Just put it on me. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to. I hope I kept you guys company. I hope to see you guys next week. Very healthy, more healthy than today, a lot richer, everything that you wish for. I hope you guys get it, because you guys are the fucking nicest people ever, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Peace out, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye, everyone.